Okay, our first speaker is a technologist. He's a scientist, an inventor, a venture capitalist, and an entrepreneur. Among many other accomplishments, he is founder and managing director of Nara Venture Capital, a company that invests in early-stage high-technology companies. He's also co-founder of the Brain Gain Network, and this is actually one of the main reasons why we asked him to speak today. It's a virtual community of Philippine professionals from all over the world, united for the purpose of advancing high technology and other entrepreneurial businesses in the country. You know, we've always been talking about the exodus of the Filipino, and we would like to see a Philippines where people are homebound and not necessarily outbound. So friends, to speak on this topic, we have Dr. Paco Sandejas.
I don't know how to sing, and I'm not a showbiz guy like Bam. And I don't know anything about politics. And I'm not a motivational speaker. But anyway, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen and friends. Obviously, I'm really a nerd and a geek, so I'm not so comfortable standing in front of all of you. But because Bam and Mark are good friends, it was hard for me to turn them down and not go to the beach instead. So last night, while not being in the beach, I decided to take my wife on a date. We watched a romantic movie. And the topic included this guy that found out when he was going to die and how he dealt with it. It kind of is a little inspiration for me today. In addition, I gave last Christmas as one of my favorite gifts the book of the computer science professor Randy Posh that you might all have seen on the YouTube that was entitled The Last Lecture. He knew when he was going to die. And so he gave a lecture much like this, but a lot more entertaining. He even did push-ups in front of everyone. But sorry, I'm not going to die, so I'm not going to do push-ups for you today. At least I don't know when I'm going to die. Who knows, after this talk, someone might want to kill me. But I'm humbly here taking this challenge, and I'm encouraged to express some of the key messages that have inspired my life thus far. I'm just a humble engineer and medyo, well, no, I'm not. People know I'm not so humble, but I'm really yabang. But still, it's my humble effort to at least share something. So let me try. I guess this is already one message, I guess, that we can share. I'd like to impart to all of you to always remember, as my prelude, that time is short. You don't know when you're going to die. And then recalling the events of the last few weeks, Corey's very moving funeral. And you might ask, how would we want others to think of us on the day that we die? What legacy would we want to leave behind? I don't know about you, but as I watched the funeral, that came to my mind. And that's the thing that would come to the mind of many of you here who have a lot of talents. And for those in internet space, you might ask yourselves in the United States, how would you want to be remembered on the day that you die or the days after you die? I'm not a priest. I think some people here are priests, so I'm going to stop on that kind of line. But still, ask yourselves that, right? I ask this because I know that all of you are a select audience with gifts. I face a live audience here in this beautiful and proudly Filipino Ayala Museum. And I know Bam and Mark threatened that this would be on the internet, so that's why I dressed up. And then I went on a diet last night, so my stomach doesn't show. But, you know, maybe in simpler terms, you're asking homebound or outbound. Or me, I might ask myself, should I stay or should I go? So please allow me to answer this in a slightly roundabout way. High-tech daw so may slides. So many of us are recipients of a lot of blessings. And through faith, some of us might have, you know, maybe through a scholarship, or the government gave you something, or you're blessed because your family's filthy rich. So they can send you to Harvard or Stanford or wherever, right? And so, like many of you here, we're gifted with that kind of blessing. No, I'm not filthy rich. I just got a scholarship. And I became this guy, the Silicon Valley guy. I went to Stanford, became more nerdy than I already was. I think in UP they called me mega nerd. When I went to Stanford, they called me super geek. And through hard work, we were able to obtain, I guess, an education like most of you, and some credentials that some people would believe us and give us a good job. So you become that Silicon Valley guy. And the Silicon Valley guy doesn't know how to use his high tech. There. In Silicon Valley, you can go to the toilet and you have toilet paper that's made of dollars. Greg knows this. You know, you have that. Sorry, I didn't get the girl. I got the Porsche, maybe, but not the girl. At least that's what I told my wife. Then lots of wine. Parties. But really, that's fake. Nicole Paterno there, she helped me make the slides. I never went to any party like that. I can only wish. But really, just like our other friends in the Valley, there's lots of money, lots of really interesting things going on, and lots to do. But we Filipinos in the Bay Area were blessed by the good example of Dado, who has made it and exerted a good influence on all of us. And here I am. Here I am. See? Pretending to have a private jet. But that's not mine, that's Dado's. But so, you know, you can enjoy these kinds of things and say, wow, I love the life here. And yet you decide, and many of us in the Brain Gain Network, and Greg is here also, you question, you say, should I stay here? Actually get licensed to fly that plane? Or if you make money, you can buy Dado's plane? Or you say, oh, no, forget this. I'm going back to the Philippines. And motivations are many. So number one, I think some people will have the lowest form of motivation, say cultural. It's like, I miss the lumpia, or I miss the pancit. So, and then I don't get the way these guys talk. It's so strange. So I'm gonna go home. Or the other one could be, you know, political. Like Ninoy, right? Come home, you know, change politics here. But mostly, actually, as shown by India and China, the reasons are financial. So if I'm in the Bay Area to watch a movie like last night, at least $11. Ticket lang yan. Popcorn is another $11. So you know, it's not 1 million pesos the dinner. It's cheaper. It's $15. $15. The Philippines is only $4. Right? Taxi is $12. It's $1.30. So you can tell it's a lot cheaper here in the Philippines. But also, if you come home, your sweldo is lower also. So there's a trade-off for all of us, right? Come home, I get a 50% discount on my sweldo, but yet I can buy a lot more popcorn. You can watch movies. They don't kick you out. You can watch the whole day. So my simplest response is, I guess, really, financial is a good one. But there are many, right? Personal. And one of the most personal things that I think the Indians and Chinese and Filipinos go home for is family. This is your home. Not just family, immediate family. Your dad's sick and you want to come home before he dies and spend time with him. That's not the only reason. Your brothers, sisters, or your cousins. Or like me, you would come home for Christmas, girlfriendless, lonely, you know, then you go. It's like, wow, so many friends here. In the Bay Area, you work from 7 in the morning till midnight. You go home. You have to do laundry pa. You have to cook. Then I don't know how to cook so well. So you're, you know, it's sometimes lonely. And then here, everywhere you go, you know everybody. You go to the green belt. You're stopped every 10 minutes, even if you don't know who's saying hello to you. So it's nice, right? Times I would take a vacation, I would talk to my friends and everybody about this. So there are different levels, many motivations, but for you guys, really, My wife, who's of course much more famous than me, she said one of the reasons she came home is, I guess, she felt like she was a big fish in a smaller pond, right? She would not have had the showbiz career that she had here in the Philippines if she were in the States. Maybe she would have been lucky like Lea Salonga or other people, but that's really hard. Or we could become like Dado and be very successful, but odds are against you. Odds are much better here because it's a smaller pond, as she said. And same for the basketball players. They can't make it in NBA, so they come here, they join the PBA, right? It's not to say that they're bad, but it's just another option for them. But I guess the question really is for all of us, and those people in the States, it's should I stay or should I go, homebound or outbound? Now, when I was discussing this with the organizers, I was asking myself, I'm not really someone who advocates live here, live there. That's really not what I like to focus on. I like to focus more on what you can do for the world. I advocate Pinoy global citizens in a borderless world. The future Filipino really lives in a world without borders. Just look at the internet now. Look at some of your friends who may have met their wife or their husband on the internet. I'm not really advocating one way or the other, but it just shows you that things happen without borders. Look at the outsourcing businesses that thrive here in the Philippines. Those happen, again, because of telecommunications, the ease of travel by airplane. It's so easy to be one day in the Philippines, the next day in the United States, or India, or China. So we live in a world without borders anymore. And despite visa problems, visa is not the reason you would stay here. You can find, you get educated, you can get a visa to the United States. The question really is how we Filipinos can contribute to the global society. I'm more an advocate of ideally forgetting what color our skins are, what kind of language we speak. You go where you can make the biggest impact in the world. So for you guys, especially the younger people here, I'm repeating something I gave during my graduation speech in UP in 1989. When I spoke to my classmates, I said, you know what? I'm very patriotic, but I'm going to leave this country. I'm going to go abroad, I'm going to get a graduate degree, and I'm not going to come back for a long time. And I encourage a lot of you to do the same thing if you can. Because today's world, again, is borderless. And the people you're competing with are not the people sitting beside you. The ones you're competing with are the quiet little Chinese guys inventing the new microchip that will make your cell phones last 10 days. Or that Indian guy that's answering the phone in Bangalore. Those are the people you're competing with. And more, you're actually not competing with Americans anymore. You're still competing with them. They're still doing a lot, but a lot of innovation is now happening even in Vietnam. So we have to wake up to that reality. But to know that reality, you need to go there and live that reality. It's kind of why we say our athletes should go abroad. Play basketball with the African Americans, to run against the Kenyans, to play soccer against the Italians. If you want to be the best, you have to go there and play with the best. And if you don't, you're just small time. And we Filipinos are a proud race, and we don't want to be small time. So real competition is at the global level. Take, for example, George Garcia of Asian Hospital, if you know him. Or somebody very famous to us here is Manny Pangilinan and Simon Paterno, to name a few. They went abroad to become better. And they decided to come home to share their expertise with the rest of us. And the Philippines can benefit from it and become better. And it's the same in our athletic world, right? Who's playing the Davis Cup for the Filipinos now? Cecil Mamit. Where did he grow up? LA. Where did he train? There. He played Andre Agassi. And the guys that are trained here are still being trained further. Now, not everybody can go abroad and have the gift of playing in UCLA or USC, right? What we do is, at least Cecil Mamit comes here and he plays with PJ Tiero, he plays with the local guys. And the local guys who cannot go, at least interact with those who did go abroad and become better through them. And that's what we're advocating in the Brain Gain Network. This whole flow of expertise. Okay? And the other thing is, I don't like to tell all my friends in the States, come home. Come back to the Philippines. Shame on you if you don't come home. That's not good, right? And it's also not good to tell everyone here, you have to stay. Don't go to Singapore. You're not patriotic if you leave your software job, if you leave my company because you're going to Singapore. You're a cop-out. That's not fair either. Because we don't know if that person has family problems and financial problems, and if they went to Singapore, they can finally pay the bill and, own their house, for example. To each person their own. But what I'm talking about is generalizations, and more importantly, I'm talking about the spirit, what's in our hearts. So I've been encouraging you guys to go abroad. And so this is about the Brain Gain Network and how it works. I guess the reason why Bam and Mark invited me to. So first, it's a focus on motivation, right? We're focused on, like you said, pagbabago, no, Bam? Everyone wants a renewal. So Brain Gain Network is helping build the new Philippines. The way we do it is through your expertise. Because the new Philippines will not be built on good intentions alone. Just because you're a nice guy or a nice girl, just because you go to church, you go to confession, you whatever, doesn't make the Philippines better necessarily. At least makes us a nice people. And yeah, okay, that's good. But in order to compete economically and socially, you need to have skills. We need to be able to know how to program faster and better than those other guys or girls. You need to know how to do investment banking and cut the deals the same way the Chinese in Hong Kong do. So we need to have heart, but you also need brains, that's why we started brain and then gain. The gain means people who go abroad, or people who interact with people who went abroad, or just people who interact in general. You get smarter, you learn more, and you become more expert. And together also, gain comes from a collective force. If we work together, we can get rid of corruption in this country. But if we don't work together, we're selfish, then that won't happen. And finally, one of the things that is not in the name, brain gain is okay, cute, but the other thing that we really advocate is entrepreneurship. Because we can't rely on government to solve our problems, much less right now the way our institutions function. We need to rely on ourselves. That's why you need to be entrepreneurial. We can't rely on the Philippine conglomerates to give us the jobs we want, right, Greg? We need to start our own companies, invent our own products, invent our own service or whatever, and innovate. Because everybody else is just looking out for the next lechon manok or next sago business. You need to innovate on your own. All right. Sorry, I'm not an expert in this shuffling of pages. I know the showbiz guys, it goes. Me, I can't handle 3 things. So if you ask me, being homebound, therefore, is more about going back to one's roots. No matter where you are, no matter what you do, no matter who you're doing it with, it's about doing it well. And while you're doing it, you're still focused on how can I help my fellow Filipinos and my country get better through my expertise. Let me share it, even if I'm still stuck in Scandinavia, doing whatever, making ice sculptures, or drinking vodka. Okay. All right? So we need to become good and teach the Filipinos and help the Philippines become better. All right. For example, I, at Nara Venture Capital, this is my day job, not giving talks, is Nara Venture Capital is a pioneer for venture capitalism in the Philippines, and Nara invests in high technology and hopes that our investments in technology could influence just the way we live and the way we work. So technology becomes like this, and makes us have businesses that are more efficient, or it also helps us formulate public policy that makes education in the country better. So that's my own little way of contributing, coming back, bringing capital of other people to the Philippines, investing in young, smart Filipinos, and creating new businesses. That's my way of giving back. And once in a while, giving talks. So in conclusion, okay, let's see if I can work 3 things at the same time. You know what? Actually, when I came back, I hated it. Honestly. My 5th day here, there was I think August 7 to 1997. There was a huge thunderstorm, actually huge typhoon, and it took me 16 hours to get from here to Alabang. And it was baha everywhere. Luckily, I didn't drink any water. So all the women natin, luckily also, I was smart. I figured, I just bought a new car. So I'm not going to get through the baha. So I parked it, and I hopped on this bus. And then I just slept in the back. But all the women I remember in the middle of the night, they have to go down and they make whatever in the side there. I didn't have to do it. But I was so mad. Why did I come home? And then the financial crisis hit, 97 also. It's like, wow, my salary was not 40% down. It went like 80% down. So traffic. And then the other thing I hate is in the Philippines, we all make up rules. Look at the jeeps. They don't follow no rules. We make seeing it everywhere. Basura, pollution. Even when I play tennis, the people I play tennis with here, they cheat more than the guys in the States. So, in California, we had the outdoors, sporting life, continuous mental stimulation by Nobel laureates in the school, right? And then, well, the nerds too, the rich culture, nice wine, dami. So it's a lot of nice things. But you know what? In the end, as I said, it's not that I really got used to the mess, but there are a lot of beautiful things here. Beautiful people, beautiful place, beautiful family, right? These are the reasons why the Indians and the Chinese go home. These are why we Filipinos come home. Because you get this. And then you get to affect the lives of many more people. I would never have been able to just start a company on my own, employ 50 people just like that. In the States, I'd be a little cog in the machine, day in, day out, like the Charlie Chaplin movie, The Machine. So you're just one of those. Even if you're a PhD from Stanford, and but there's thousands of us. And many of them even today don't have jobs. So you can do this. And when you look at this, you say, when I die, I'm happy I employed these people. I gave these guys a job, and they didn't need to go to Singapore. They didn't need to go to the States. And now, through our company, some of them can go, but we try and bring them back. And we try and bring the jobs that they would do in the States here through outsourcing, through the internet, blah, blah, blah. So I'm very happy about that. So in conclusion, some of the things you hate are also the things that you can love. And these are the opportunities that you can see. And the opportunities not just for your own self-satisfaction. So if you're like as sentimental as me and you're like, oh, what a nice guy, he loves the world. Well, no, you also say, you can also make money, right? There are financial opportunities here. You can make money. The Indians and Chinese who go back, if you look at it, Mumbai has the highest number of billionaires in any one city in the world. Because there's so much business, so many people. There's 90 million people to take their money. You can take their money. Opportunities for business. So being homebound is not just about feeling good. You can also do a lot of good business. Whereas the economy is kind of flat in the States, the economy here is still growing, despite all the gulo. And other parts of Asia too are growing. So these are home. So let me try and end on a positive note, because there are many frustrating points, but we just talked about the opportunities. And the opportunities, to me, actually, for all those who want to make a good effect here, you know what? Focus on 2 things. focus on education. So those who are in politics, I'm sure you'll fix that for us. Education and the damn corruption. Get rid of those two things, and there'll be more Filipinos coming home. Because it's about our legacy and our children. I will not allow my children to grow up in a place where we're sometimes hypocrites. We talk about good morals, being good churchgoers. This is a sin, that's not a sin. You know what? Go to the spirit of it. And if you follow the commandments really the way they are, you will not tolerate corruption. You will not tolerate wishy-washy gray areas. You will do the right thing, and we need that from our children. And it starts in schools and in our families. So, to me, that's an opportunity. I don't want you to make money by giving diplomas out. I want us to focus on real education. And let's not focus too much on where we live. So if you're Filipinos in the Bay Area or in Canada, wherever, through the Brain Gain Network and other good NGOs, by interacting even virtually or physically when you come here for vacations, or by contributing even just financially to Gilas or whatever good NGO, you can do good. Of course, being physically present in the Philippines is needed, and that's why I came home. But the others who can't come home, work with us who did come home, or work with those who are already here, like all of you. We can make changes, and it's important to execute our plans and change here physically in the Philippines. But more importantly, let our motivation be that of giving back, to be that of service. The service to our youth, to our children, to our family, and to our country. Let us aspire to become the best we can become, and today or later in our lives to work together as global Filipinos to make the Philippines a wonderful and nurturing place for our children and grandchildren. A beautiful land with beautiful people where all of us will receive the education, and especially our children and our grandchildren will receive the education, and they'll grow up with values and become better citizens of the world and our country. Thank you.